Well, hey, friend, it's June, which means I'm in an RV traveling out west, or at least that's the plan. So for this month, we're going to replay some episodes of a podcast that me and my wife used to do called This House. And it's a series on marriage. And so we're going to talk about, well, the glory of marriage, the problem of marriage, the gospel of marriage, and then, yeah, that's right, the gift of marriage. Hope you enjoy the next 4 weeks. And every Thursday, you're going to hear from me and also my lovely wife, Katie, as we get to talk to you about marriage. So enjoy this episode on marriage.
That's good. So this episode's going to be a little bit different than most. I would say most of our episodes are totally fine for you to listen to in the car, going on a road trip with your children of all ages. And this one will be a little bit different. So we will be covering the topic of the gift of marriage. So without saying anything more, because you might have little ears listening, if you haven't had that talk with your children about where babies come from,
yeah,
it might be time to turn this off until they're out of the car or out of your vicinity. So,
yeah,
right, Kory?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you got small kids, this is not the episode to listen to.
If you don't want to answer a lot of questions today,
yes,
this might be the time to.
Yeah, but after you listen to it, if you think, hey, my teenager needs to hear this, or I've got or if you're a college student or somebody, we're not going to be graphic. We're not going to intentionally, say something that would be provocative, but we are going to talk about the gift of marriage, which is, hopefully your little ears aren't listening now, but we're going to talk about sex today. That's
right.
Right? Do you want to give what was your quote you're going to share about?
Well, just like thinking about the book of Song of Solomon, Song of Songs, which we are going to, hopefully we've already told you this, but we are going to do a study series on that coming shortly. But that book, I've just heard it described from a few different sources as being like sexually provocative, but never spiritually impure, never pornographic. And so I think that's what we are going to attempt to do today, even less so even than the Song of Solomon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So that's what...
Not as poetic, right?
No. Yeah. We will not be doing poetry today. But we will be, because we'll be reading it as looking forward. So, but today is just kind of an overview of the gift that God gives to married couples.
Yeah.
It's a really neat way to look at it, like a gift. Like you think about weddings, what's the exciting part for the couple to be when they start having showers and all those things? You get a lot of gifts.
Yeah. Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Open up gifts. Yes. Gifts are good. Gifts are from someone who loves you. And gifts are something that you get to receive.
And I just think about it like in terms of, a marriage, like God gives a married couple a wedding gift. Like, and that's a really neat way to think about it.
Wow. I've never thought about that.
That's where I was going with that. And then you kind of derailed with Christmas morning.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I love that's good. God gives a wedding gift.
God, it's like he gives
you. That is awesome.
He's at one of your wedding showers.
And a gift that keeps giving.
That's right.
Which is awesome.
Dare I say the best gift that you will get.
Absolutely. No doubt.
It's way better than like a mixer, right?
That's true. Or a crock pot, right?
Yes.
So Katie, what is here's a little trivia. What's the first command in the Bible? Now, before you answer it, if you're listening, try to think about that. Okay, what's the first command that God gave to human beings? I like this music. Yes. So what do you think, Katie? What's the very first command?
Well, the first command he gave to man or to a married couple?
Just as you're reading the Bible, the very first command you come upon.
Well, let's be fruitful.
Yes. The very first command in Genesis 1, be fruitful and multiply. So God makes man in his image. The very first thing he says is he blesses them, and then he says, be fruitful and multiply. So think about how cool that is. The very first thing God said was not, don't eat this, don't do that. The very first command wasn't the 10 Commandments. The very first command was, I've just made man and woman. There's this marriage that's coming, and here's the very first command. be fruitful and multiply. That means make babies. So
does be fruitful mean something different than multiply?
no, I think that's, I think the multiply is what happens from, I think be fruitful is, he's literally talking about that intimate relationship.
Okay.
Like as a married couple, have sex.
And
That's
the result of that is you
fruitful
multiply.
and multiply. Like, so in the fruitfulness, okay, as you're fruitful together, then it's going to create more image bearers of God. So that's going to be, the fruit is going to lead to multiplication. So, and then you're going to teach those other people to, hey, you go now, find your bride, find your husband, you be fruitful, and you multiply. So
it kind of, I just thought of this. I feel like
we're
you
on the
get
spot.
nervous
Let's
when I
rock it.
say
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Let's just
I just
go.
thought about, it's kind of cool, like when you are born again, like God, like into the family of God, when you become a Christian, that's kind of the same commandment he gives us in terms of like our relationship with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're supposed to learn about him, love him with all our heart, mind, soul, but then we're also supposed to like share that with others and
Absolutely.
multiply ourselves
Yeah.
in that way. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a,
No doubt. Yeah. Spiritually,
Yeah.
like you've been born again. So now go and multiply. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the exact one in the beginning. Hey, multiply physically. Now we're supposed to multiply physically, or I mean, spiritually. So
Yeah.
there's definitely that connection. Which is really cool. I remember my, my theology professor, Dr. Ware, would say, and this is not, in the Bible, he's just speculating, but
he's a really smart guy.
He's
So I'm
a
gonna
really
trust
smart
him.
guy, and he's thought about deep things for a long time. But I love what he said. I remember it just struck me in class. He said his thought on the reason why God made sex so good. I mean, just think about it for a minute. God made sex, right? He created it.
Mm-hmm.
Means he made our bodies the way they are. He put nerve endings where they go. He created just sensations and feelings and orgasm. I mean, he did that. That was actually God. Like God did it. It was his design. It was his good purpose. He could have made procreation to be something that we just did out of duty, almost like the animal kingdom. It's just, that it's more of a duty. But God didn't make that for mankind. He made it a delight and this pleasurable, the most pleasurable act you're ever going to get on the planet is this act. Why did God make it so good? And Dr. Ware's theory was the pleasure that God had in making the universe. When God created the universe, the pleasure he had, he wanted to share that with his creatures. So the way we procreate the world is a pleasurable act. So the pleasure God felt in creating the world, we get to experience a little bit of that pleasure when we procreate and make little babies. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. Like God is
amazing.
Good God who is for us, and he's given us an amazing gift, and that gift is sex.
So you're saying, okay, so there was a song popular, I think when we were like maybe in high school or something, and said,
Yes.
You want me to sing it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is it you and me, baby?
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Now,
Yes. I love it.
theologically speaking, and what we believe about sex and God and the Bible and the good gift that he's given us in marriage, that's completely incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're saying in the animal world, it's very different than for humans.
Yeah, no doubt. And we live on a cattle farm, so we see it, cows come in heat, the bulls come in, like it's it's instinct. It's just to make more cows. It's to make more dogs. But there's this, the cycle comes in, and there's a moment where there's an attraction, there's a pulling together, but it's very much a duty, where human beings are very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift that's supposed to be frequent and not just for procreation, but also for pleasure. And we're going to see that all throughout Scripture.
In the marriage covenant.
Yes.
Animals don't have a marriage.
That's right. Yes. And they're not supposed to be exclusive to one person.
No, that's how, So it's not wrong for,
No.
like your family, they encourage that, right?
Yeah.
Like in the cow world to have one bull has many
Yep.
Heifers. Am I right?
Yeah,
saying?
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. I love how
Okay,
this got derailed
so
into like cows and heifers.
So I married into this farm life situations. I don't know a ton about it, but I just hear things from time to time.
Yeah.
But that's not wrong if you're a farmer or,
and there's
breeding
not like,
dogs, whatever
there's
it
not
may
disease that's going around in like, the animal world because
of that.
And I think now you have humans where it's very different. And I think there's reasons because it was supposed to be an exclusive marriage only type of a gift, and God's given to us, and when we treat it in a way that he doesn't say, it leads to a lot of very wrong things.
And I think I remember thinking through that myself. I mean, I knew it, but we were starting to have those conversations about when are you going to talk to our children? When are we going to have those conversations with our kids about sex and what that is and what it's for? And I was like, well, it should be easy for us because our kids have seen it on the farm and we can kind of use that. And you were just like, no, I don't want to do that. And the reason I don't want to like correlate the two is because it is so different. Yeah. And I was like, that's
sex between
wise.
Married couples, it's a sacred thing. And we're going to see, I think even our culture has made it just non-sacred, very smutty rather than sacred. And I think that's a big problem.
Yeah. Good.
So I think one of the places that we're going to go as you think about, hopefully, maybe you're single listening to this, maybe you're a married couple listening to this. We don't know your exact state, but we just want you to see God's goodness in giving a gift to married couples only, and that gift is sex. And so we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and Paul's actually going to give some instruction to the church there. And what? Ooh, I hear the pages.
Sound effect.
Pages ruffling. If you're turning in your Bibles, you can go ahead and go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. If you're driving down the road, please don't try to look it up on your smartphone. But this is one of those passages that I think a lot of times people, will probably be shocked if you haven't heard this passage, because what we're going to see is God is very pro-sex. And that's a little bit shocking because we don't think that. It's like, okay, sex has to be this arena that God's really not in control of, or at least doesn't like want us to do. And we're going to see, no, God is very pro-sex. He gave it as a gift. He wants it to be enjoyed frequently. And so let's read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. Do you want to read that since you got there in your Bible?
I am there, as you all heard.
Okay.
Now in response to the matters you wrote about, it is good for a man not to use a woman for sex, but because sexual immorality is so common, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman should have sexual relations with her own husband. A husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise a wife to her husband. A wife does not have right over her own body, but her husband does. In the same way, a husband does not have the right over his own body, but his wife does. Do not deprive one another, except when you agree for a time to devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again. Otherwise, Satan may tempt you because of your lack of self-control. I say this as a concession, not as a command. I wish that all people were as I am, but each has his own gift from God. One person has this gift, another has that.
Okay, so Paul's first of all dealing with a question, and the question is, they've actually wrote to him and they've said it's not good for a man to have sexual relations with a woman. And so this was a common view in especially the religious world. It was like, hey, somehow sex is earthy, it's not spiritual, so it's really the best is not to have sex because that's and especially in Paul's time, dealing in Roman culture and just Plato and a lot of the philosophies, it's the body is bad, our cravings are bad, and so this separation of body, these passions of your flesh, you don't need to enjoy. So it's this idea of, okay, sex is something that your body wants. It can't be spiritual. And so Paul's actually going to kind of talk towards that. And he said, look, there's a temptation towards sexual morality. He says, therefore, each each man should have his own wife and each woman her own husband. So he's kind of countering this. Okay, you're saying that to be spiritual, you shouldn't have sex. And he's saying, hey, I'm saying if you try that, there's a huge temptation coming your way. And even the passage that you read, he deals in the bottom of that where, hey, there is a gift to singleness. And maybe you have the gift of singleness. You're not going to be tempted in the same way a person that doesn't have the gift of singleness. There's going to be this desire. Paul says it's better to marry than to burn with passion a little bit later on in this text. But here's what he says.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we know the author is Paul, right? Was Paul married?
Paul was not.
Yeah. Because it says it right in the next thing.
Yeah.
He talks about how so it's interesting that he writes a lot about marriage as a single person.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's from God,
and some people would be like, you can't ever give instructions unless you've already been through it. Or, I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can't ever tell somebody if you haven't been there. Well, Paul and Jesus both talk about marriage, and neither one of them were married. So, you can take God's word, and as long as you have like the word of God, you can stand on it, even though you might not have the experience. Paul would say, hey, singleness is great, but the reality is not everybody is made for singleness. And if you have the sexual desires that are strong, that are leading to temptation, that's a trigger that says, hey, you're meant for marriage, and you should be looking and pursuing and trying to find that husband and that wife. But I love what it says. So each man and woman should have their own husband or wife. So it's that exclusive relationship. And then I love in verse 3, it says the husband should give to his wife her conjugal rights. So the husband should give. And that's really what we're trying to hit on this episode. Sex is a gift that is given and received. It's not taken or demanded. And if you get nothing else out of this episode, that's the big thing I want you to see, that sex is a gift that's given and received. It's not taken or demanded. So he's saying, hey, you should give to your wife her, ESV says conjugal rights. I think yours said marital duties.
Today I'm reading, I'm bringing it all.
You're just, who knows what Katie's reading?
It's the CSB, right? Christian Standard
which
Bible.
is a super great translation. But I do like the ESV better. I like rights better than duty, because duty sounds like I've got to do this, not like, hey, this is one of the things I signed up for. Like, I get access to this. Yeah. This is one of my rights. And so he's saying, hey, ladies, you have a right to something. And then it says also, likewise, the wife to her husband. So here's the deal, that in marriage, there's this conjugal right, and that's speaking explicitly to sexuality, like the conjugal union, that's sexuality. So there's a right that comes with marriage. There's a gift that's given, and that gift is ultimately and that sexual relationship. So I want to stop in reading through the text just a little bit, and I want to talk about the 3 ways that people tend to look at sexuality. And we've talked about this with several couples, several places. It's not original to me. I think several people have said this. But I just want to give these 3 categories that I think are very, very helpful when it comes to how you view sex. And we'll kind of talk about it a little bit. And hopefully this will help maybe you see how you view sex in your marriage. So there's 3 ways that you possibly look at sex. Okay. So the first way, yes. Do you want to? I know them. Okay. Do you want to give them to them?
You can expound on them, but they're 3 G's, right?
3 G's. Yes.
People either view it as a god.
Yep.
Gross.
Yep.
Or what we want and what we think God wants us to see sex as is a gift.
Yes. That's exactly
God,
right.
gross, or gift.
God, gross, or gift. So let's start with God. Okay. And we're going to talk in general terms a lot. So, I'm going to speak to the husband some, Kate will speak to the wife some, but this is not across the board. Every husband and wife thinks the same or views sex the same way. So, but I'm just going to make a general statement. If you're struggling with sexuality in your marriage, and most guys, I think, come into marriage viewing sex as a god. And what that means is sex is the ultimate thing of your marriage. It's the thing you demand. It's the thing you have to have. It defines the identity of the marriage. If the guy is getting it a lot, then everything's great and he's happy and this is good. If he's not, man, personality changes. He's not, pursuing his wife anymore. Like, this is the thing that the marriage is built on. It becomes the idol of the marriage. And I think just a word to this, that sex is not a God, and it's a very bad God. Like, it can't satisfy you the way only Jesus can. And when sex becomes an idol, it becomes the fuel of the marriage, but instead sex is supposed to be the fruit of the marriage. So it's not the fuel of the marriage. It's not the thing that's making or the thing your marriage is. Instead, it's just a fruit. It's one of the things we get to enjoy in marriage, but it's not the marriage. So that's where, if you're, and maybe you're a girl, and you view sex as it's the thing you have to have. It's a thing you demand. It's a thing that makes it where you're going to be happy or sad that day, whether or not you get it. That means it's a God. It's not a gift. And so we don't want you to view sex as a God. So maybe go to the second category. Do you want to deal with that?
Well, I think you can talk it too in terms of like the unmarried. This can be a God too,
Absolutely.
A very sinful God if you're not married, obviously. But even if you're not like physically having sex with someone as an unmarried person, you could be, watching pornography or just always consumed with it, And so obviously a God before marriage too,
And I would say a lot of our culture.
This is
God.
what our culture would be for sure.
It's you watch movies, songs. I mean, it's this thing that like defines the whole relationship, and it's what the relationship is. It's very much glamorized. Obviously, the frequency of pornography all over our culture, all over the internet. Like, it's this thing that's taken out of marriage to be worshipped and celebrated, and in a negative way, like celebrated in like, this is the thing that I have to have and must demand. And if I don't get it, I'm not even fully human. And that's a really dangerous place to be, because you're human without expressing your sexuality. I mean, think about Jesus. He never expressed his sexuality in an act, and he's fully human. Like, he's the greatest human that ever lived. And Paul is not he's not using his sexuality. He's single and celibate, and that is a great thing too. He's fully human. And even for you might have desires that are not appropriate the way God has said, and you don't have to act on those desires to be fully human.
Right.
And that's what our culture would absolutely frown on.
Yeah, and I think too, with those desires, let those desires tell you that, marriage, could be a possibility for you versus like feeling bad because, I don't know. Does that make sense? Like,
no doubt.
I think, this certain girl is so pretty or whatever, like that in itself is not wrong. Like, I think God designed us that way, and that's just supposed to point us towards marriage versus, sexual immorality. Yeah.
So this is to the young men, perhaps, but I love what Dr. Moeller once said to a group of young men. He said,
the president of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary.
He's a pretty smart dude.
He's a very smart guy.
Yeah. I remember he talked one time, I was with a group of young guys, and he's talking to us, and he said, when you hit puberty, when you start getting those desires and feelings, he said it's an awakening to say, you don't have a toy to play with, but instead you have a tool that's meant to build something. And so this idea of now you have these sexual feelings, culture says you got a toy. So go play with it, use it, whether that's pornography or sleeping around, whatever it is, you've just got this fun now. Just go enjoy. And what the Bible would say is, no, you have a tool that is meant to build marriage. And so what you need to do is pursue purity and to grow into manhood and pursue a wife that then you can use your sexuality to build a family one day and to grow in purity. And I thought that was a really good distinction.
Very good.
Man, when you have those feelings that are awakening, this is not my time to just play around. This is my time to start pursuing manhood and growing so that I can build my family one day with the sexuality God's given me.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool thing.
That is a cool thing.
So it's not a God. What is it also not, Katie?
It is not gross.
Yes.
And so, like we said, generally speaking, I feel like oftentimes, the women are the ones who fall into this category a little bit more. In thinking of sex in terms of a dirty thing, a gross thing, even after marriage. I'm not just talking about before marriage. And it's so it is so interesting too when you think about, I think for women, we watch these romantic movies and, even before we're married, read romantic books or not even like, I'm not even talking about like the Daniel Steele, like love novels, but I'm a reader. I like fiction books, but it just seems like that's a theme in these books, these romantic relationships that often have sex in them, and we indulge in those things and we think sex is beautiful and awesome and whatever. Then you get in a marriage and the day to day and it's like, ugh, I don't want to do that. It becomes this like gross thing. And I think, even before marriage, this may be weird for some to think about, but you think about that couple that's been married for a long time, or maybe even your parents, you're like, oh, that's so gross that they do that, and it's like, but yet we'll watch a TV show with a young couple who's not married, maybe even an adulterous situation, and it looks fun and exciting. Like all these simple like things that we think of in our mind in that way. Yeah. But we look at a marriage sexual relationship as, boring or gross or whatever it may be. And I think the Bible paints a completely different picture. And we're going to see that coming. Yeah.
It's amazing how crafty
in Song of Solomon.
How crafty Satan is.
So crafty.
And I can't quote it, but C.S. Lewis talks about that a little bit, that, Satan, he has nothing. He's not a creator, so he can't offer us anything that's good and beautiful and true. He can only take that which is good and beautiful and true and distort it. And so I think that's with sexuality. Like Satan did not create sexuality. He did not create these feelings that we have. He can only take what God has made good, perfect, and beautiful and distort it and sell us a cheaper version that looks better. Yeah. And I think that's so true, that sex outside of marriage, it always looked captivating and exciting.
I think the thing that you said there that stuck out to me most was looks. It looks better. What you don't see on the TV shows is the scars that follow for a lifetime. You don't see maybe the sexually transmitted disease that is a result of this flippant, casual view of sex. You don't see the unwanted pregnancy a lot of times that puts you in a place you never thought you would be. So that idea of the look, the appearance of satisfaction and pleasure, but you don't see the scars that follow and the shame.
Yeah.
So.
I love Proverbs chapter 9. It says, can a man carry fire next to his chest and not get burned? And it's in the context of sexual morality. And it's like, no, you can't grab fire and it not burn you. And a lot of times sex in the Bible is used the metaphor of fire. And you think about a campfire is good because it's got a ring around it. It's beautiful in this ring, but outside of it, if you take the fire and just put it in the woods, it's going to burn the forest down. And I think marriage, the covenant, is the fire ring. It's the protector where whatever happens
Johnny
inside
Cash
of it,
sings about that.
Yeah, the ring of fire. That's what he was talking about. But it's this beautiful, I can be trusted. I can be vulnerable. I can be 100% known. No one's going to take advantage of me. And, especially if you're a girl and you're in a relationship this guy's not married you and he's using you sexually. It's just that he's using you. It's not a gift. He's not giving it's taking. He has no authority. He's not pledged himself to you. He's just taking and hurting. And so I think if you're in a relationship that is enjoying the fruit of marriage without marriage, man, you need to repent right now, because that's only leading to trouble.
And I think with us having done youth ministry for a long time and me counseling girls through some of this heartache and just seeing, just even in our lives growing up and things, just like, I refer to it as a mini marriage when you're in a relationship, and most of the time this refers to high school, young college. You're in this super intense relationship where sex is a part of it, and it really is like a mini marriage. Yeah. So you want to know what it feels like when that relationship ends? It feels like a divorce. Yeah. I always tell, or I've said this before, in parents dealing with breakups of their children in college and in high school, and those, not to discard the heartache that their children are feeling, because
real.
if they had a mini marriage, they're going through a mini divorce.
Yeah.
And I know it's not the exact same, but man, those emotions are real and hard and sometimes take a lifetime to get over. Yeah. So that was just a little free extra.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's a gift. And think about a gift of Christmas morning. Like, you open it Christmas morning, it's great. If you're a kid that sneaks down, opens it a week early, it's shame and guilt and anger, and like it's not gonna satisfy you. So I think just if you're single, wait for the gift to be enjoyed in marriage. If you are married, celebrate the gift. So yeah, it's not gross. I think gross, when we're talking about like it's a God or gross, gross can also not mean that the wife or even the husband thinks it's dirty or actually gross. It's just not a big deal. Like it's neglected. It's like, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
That's also in the category of gross. It's like, this is not a big deal. Why do we even have to do this? And what God says in your marriage is, no, this is a huge deal. And we're going to see as we walk through this passage a little bit more that it's supposed to be enjoyed regularly. So it's not a God. Yeah. It's not the thing of your marriage. It's not gross. It's not dirty or to be neglected. But instead,
I also think on gross, one more thing, like just, I've heard from girls that and maybe even both people in the marriage, they waited to have sex till they were married, which awesome.
Yeah,
like that's exactly like how God intended for it to be. That's amazing. And they struggle a little bit at first, over time, but they do struggle a little bit at first because for so long it's been no. And then now it's all of a sudden yes. Yeah. So I think just, in thinking about, why are you guys doing a series like this, or why are you talking about this on the podcast today? It's for encouragement, really, for married couples in that situation to know. And we hear us saying, I have a pastor sitting across the table and he is saying, God says it is good and it is a gift to enjoy. So be encouraged in that, young married couples, older married couples, all across the board and everything in between. That it is a gift,
Yeah, and sometimes your feelings don't match what's true, and go with truth. Because when you go with truth, your feelings will catch up. So if it's like, I just don't feel like, okay, what does the Bible say? Does it say it's good and it's a gift? Okay, then give and receive it. And the more you give and receive it, the more you're going to grow and feel like, okay, this is good. I'm excited. I'm celebrating this. So it's not a God. It's not gross. But instead, what is it, Katie?
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
I would also say if you don't get anything else out of this, you should be able to leave this podcast listening session and say, sex is a gift.
Yeah.
We've said absolutely. It like a million times.
Yeah. It's not God, not gross. It's a gift. So don't worship it. Don't neglect it, but instead enjoy it. Yeah. That's what we're trying to say about sexuality. So Paul's just said, give to your wife her conjugal rights, give to your husband his conjugal rights. And then he says in verse 4, for the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. I mean, that's pretty wild. Like, he's basically saying, I own your body.
Yeah. I don't know what I think about that.
I mean, I think for most readers, it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course the husband owns the wife. Like, that's common. That's just run of the mill. But then he goes on and says, likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. So that's the beautiful thing about sex and marriage. There's ownership, there's commitment, so sex before marriage, you are stealing, you are taking, you are trespassing. Think about that, how bad it is to trespass and steal. You're a violent thief if you're participating in sex outside of marriage. But in marriage, you're on your own land. Like, this is ownership. This is shared property. This is together. You own one another, and it's both streets. Like, the wife owns the husband owns the wife. And so what you have belongs to me. What I have belongs to you. So what's Paul saying? Give it. Don't withhold something that belongs to your spouse, but instead give those things. And he actually says it point blank in verse 5, do not deprive one another. Do not deprive one another. And I think just that's because here's the deal. If you're listening to this and you're a married couple, you struggle with sex.
Yeah.
It's just, we know because everybody does, like we do.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens. Like there's all sorts of different,
and there's seasons.
There's seasons where, it's tough. And then you kind of go in a good season and then it gets, life happens and kids and bedtimes and it's tough. And so just put this banner over your marriage. Don't deprive one another in the area of sex. Mm-hmm. And I think if we would do that and look for ways to give and receive, I think it could really help our marriages be so healthy.
Yeah.
I love the Beth Moore quote. She says, I think I've actually heard my dad quote Beth Moore. So I don't know if she says this, but he says she did. So
Brother Ricky says Beth Moore says this.
So I'm sure she did. But she basically says that what prayer is to the Christian life is what sex is to marriage. And think about what's your prayer life to God. It's that intimacy. It's that things are okay. We're talking, we're communicating. Mm-hmm. Think about your marriage, that sexual relationship. It says, hey, we're in harmony. Things are going good. Like if you're mad at each other, if you're fighting and angry, you're probably not going to be able to enjoy the fruit of sex. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a gift you want to do. But if things are going well and there's pursuit and grace and joy, then the overflow of that, the fruit of that is going to be a healthy sexual relationship.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to be pursued. So do you got anything to think about when it says don't deprive one another? Any encouragement?
I think it's coming, but we're going to talk about it when we talk about some practical things. But I do think, when you say that, it's different for everybody. Every couple looks different. What does deprive mean for you?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a conversation you have to have with your spouse. But I do think that's a good word to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And to be thinking about as a married couple, are we depriving one another?
Yeah. And I think just that idea, like, I have a gift that belongs to Katie. Mm-hmm. Do I want to withhold that gift? Or do I want to give that gift? It's kind of that. And I think for you to think, okay, I have a gift that belongs to Kory. Do I want to withhold that or do I want to give that? And, I think you want the gift a lot less probably. And I want the gift a lot more. But there's this compromise of, hey, I'm not demanding, I'm receiving. I'm not, I'm giving, not forcing. Like it's this beautiful of.
Well, and you think about, I'm going back to the wedding gift analogy, like when people give you a gift for your wedding, you're not like, well, it's about time that you give me this wedding gift. Yeah, like you receive it gladly, and excitedly, and oh my goodness, thank you. You didn't have to do this, And so instead of like, hey, you haven't got me a wedding gift yet. Yeah. Why haven't you given me a gift yet?
Yeah. So it's not like payment.
Yeah.
It's like it's not payment,
free,
it's a gift.
Like gift, and on both ends, like the giver and the receiver. It's a joy.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, I think sometimes in your marriage, you're going to give the gift when you don't want. When you don't necessarily want the gift. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes you're going to just give the gift to your spouse, and you don't feel like it, you don't want to, but it's just, hey, I know my husband, which is probably the case.
I was going to say, when have you ever felt that way?
This is probably more. I think
he's putting words in my mouth. He's like speaking for me right now.
But it could be the other way around. It could be,
Well, and here's the thing. I do think this is a good place for this disclaimer. Not every, which we said this, but I want to make clear that we are not speaking across the board here. We are saying most couples. That doesn't mean if this doesn't apply to you, something's wrong with you. But we're saying blanket most couples in our dealings with people. This is generally how it goes. And also, I feel like I need to say too here, there could be something medical that is wrong, and we're not speaking to those individual situations. We're talking just blanket statements based off of what we've seen most. And also, there's also this piece of this. If you have a past of sexual immorality before marriage that you haven't talked about, or that is tucked away somewhere and there's a lot of shame and guilt, that plays into your marriage relationship, which is why God says it's not right, it's not good. That and also sexual abuse in your past can taint this whole message that we're saying.
Absolutely.
Tremendously. So in those two, if you're that person and you're saying, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
I would say if there's just sexual immorality, not abuse, first have that conversation with your spouse if you haven't, and see if you two can work on that together. But if not, bring in a third party counselor to work through that with you. And especially if there's sexual abuse in your past that is hindering this relationship, you really need to think about a professional.
Yeah,
I
no
think.
doubt.
And I think that's okay. Don't feel uncomfortable because this topic is a little uncomfortable. Trust me, the professional counselors this is what they're there for, and they are trained to help and to get you through that.
Yeah, because we're talking a lot about
and there's
gift.
Hope. There's so much hope there.
Absolutely. But inevitably, the gift has been broken in some way or dropped off the UPS truck. Like it's broken a little bit, all of us. So it's how do we give the gift, but also maybe repair the gift sometimes.
That's good.
And so I think just that, hey, maybe my gift needs repairing before I can give it in a way that's glorifying to the Lord. So get the help, repair it, restore it. And if you're the husband or wife on the other end, give grace and mercy and just patience to try to let your spouse work through some of that. But the goal would be we want to get to a place where we see it how God sees it, and we give and receive it how God wants us to. Because Paul says right after that, there is a moment where you can deprive each other, and that is except perhaps by agreement for a limited time that you may devote yourselves to prayer.
Okay, let's stop here for a second.
Okay.
Have we ever done this?
No.
Okay, so I just bring that up because don't be that person that's like, I'm just praying.
Yeah.
Because
it's true. Yeah.
Paul says that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think
how often this is happening.
I think it would be if you are a spouse who's just neglecting the gift and not giving it, there better be fasting and praying happening for a specific, maybe there's a decision you got to make or things are just really tough. You're really it's visibly that you are, in a season where, but he says for a limited time, this needs to be quick and to the point and to get over whatever this hindrance is. And I think I don't
think you should have to pray and fast for a month.
No, but I do think, think about the context here. It's the context of giving and receiving this gift. Okay, if it's not happening, what do you do? Well, don't just demand it, but take whatever the roadblock and go and fast and pray and work. This is a spiritual problem.
This could be on the topic of repairing.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's why it's not happening. And
No
so
doubt.
Instead of just say, well, it's not happening because it's not happening, pray about why it's not happening so that it will.
Yeah, or go seek help. Go get counsel. This is the prayer fast. Take the opportunity. This isn't happening. There's a problem. It's not we're just not like other couples. No, there's a problem. Work on it so that you can get back to the regular rhythm, which is good and glorifying in God's sight. Because right after that, he says, but then come together again. So again, that's that sexual relationship so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Yeah. So now he's bringing spiritual warfare. If you as a married couple are not enjoying the gift regularly and frequently, that's the language here. It's a regular, frequent thing. Then you're going to have temptation come your way. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not tempted. Your spouse probably is.
Yeah.
And it's do you want your spouse to leave your house every day starving to death with all of the things this world has to offer? Because I promise you, your husband or your wife is going to see billboards and Instagram feeds. It's going to be all over lust. And if your husband or wife is not full of love,
if they have a cell phone, it's in their back pocket at all times.
Yeah. Instant
and
access
free
to all the lust you could ever want. So how do you fight against lust? You fight it with the fire of love. You get full on love and you're not going to starve for lust because you see it's a cheap imitation. It's not the real thing. So, but I think if you're starving, then it's a lot more tempting. You have a lack of self-control, and that's what Paul's really trying to get to. Say, hey, this is this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So I think we see that this giving and receiving is what ultimately that's the goodness of that God has given us when it comes to sexuality.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So are we ready for practical advice?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would just say,
teaching.
I'm just going to allude to a passage, and I
Okay.
want you to go and read as a couple.
Oh, I like
because
that.
we have kind of went a
You
little
have
bit.
homework.
Yeah, we've went a little bit longer on this first part, I think, than we maybe anticipated. But I think it's been good. I think we had a lot of good, fruitful dialogue. But Proverbs chapter 5 is a great. The illustration is your sexuality is like, you're thirsty. You have sexual desires. So the thought is, where are you going to drink from? And he has this illustration of either a sewer, which is wild and free, running in the streets. It's everywhere, but it's also gross. It's polluted. It's sewage. That's really the world's sexuality. It's wild, free, do whatever you want, but it's polluted and gross. The other illustration is drink from your own cistern, your own fountain. This one that's protected. It's a well. It's not wild and free. It's contained, but guess what? It's not sewer. It's satisfying. It's good. It's healthy. And so he goes into talking about marriage. So Proverbs chapter 5, verses 18 through 19, there's 6 descriptions about sexuality, and it's about being blessed, joyful, beautiful, satisfying, delightful, and intoxicating. And so just read through that description and see this is God's plan for sexuality. He desires for us to be intoxicated, literally be drunk in love with each other. Like at that moment where you're just completely abandoned with each other, completely excited in that moment. That's really God's beautiful design. And that only happens through understanding the gift, understanding the context, and treating it the way God wants it to be treated. And that's not as a God, not as gross, but instead as a gift.
It's interesting how the creator of sex knows how it should work, right?
Yeah. Like that's crazy, right? Like what does he know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about that, as you're talking and I'm thinking through like what all we've said, I'm like, man, this is really good. Like this makes so much sense. And it's like, duh, that's because how God designed it all to work best.
Yeah. Yeah. But then turn on anything you watch. It's meet, hook up, live together, at some point way down the road, get married. And it's like the exact reversal of what God would say. And I think we're hitting a lot on that on Song of Solomon. We talk about marriage and all those beauties. So let's practically bring it home. Think about, okay, if you're a married couple, if you're a single, what do you do with the gift of sex? So first of all, if you're single, you don't give or receive it right now.
Yeah.
You say, okay, Jesus is enough. He is my God. He is my Lord. I'm satisfied in Him, and that's where I'm at. I'm waiting. I'm pure. I'm staying. I'm not giving myself to lust, but instead I'm fleeing sexual morality, along with those who call upon the Lord with a pure heart. Like that's what I'm doing. So flee lust and pursue purity. Get some accountability. Get some other single. If you're a girl, get some single ladies. If you're a guy, get some single guys and say, hey, hold me accountable. I've got a few guys that I text regularly. Hey, how's your eyes? How's your purity? It's a fight. Let's fight for purity as singles.
And also, if you're in a relationship with someone, maybe that's, it's a good relationship that's heading towards marriage. Maybe you're even engaged. Like I just heard this on a podcast recently and I was like, man, that's good. About a young engaged couple who sought out an older married couple and said, hold us accountable to purity. We both have our own apartment and it's getting really hard because we're engaged and we know it's coming. And so this older couple said, this is amazing. We want to help you. And they said, come hang out at our house when y'all want to hang out. We'll be upstairs. We'll come downstairs and get a drink every once in a while, but come hang out at our house. Y'all can be together. You can be alone, but yet we're always there and we're always going to come down and check on you.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was so cool. And it's like, that just doesn't happen. I don't see that happening, but I thought, what a neat way to protect yourselves in such a God honoring way. And also you form this cool relationship with this older couple. And I'm going to guarantee you, if you find that older couple and you say those words to them, they are going to be so pumped. Don't feel like they're going to be like, well, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. If they're a godly couple, they're going to think this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. That you are that in love with the Lord and each other, that you would do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a verse, Hebrews 13, chapter 4. This is for singles and marrieds. Here's what it says. Let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge the sexually immoral and the adulterous. So if you're single, how do you honor marriage and honor the marriage bed? You don't participate. Mm-hmm. It says God's going to judge those who go into the bed without marriage. And if you are married, what do? Well, it says you honor it. And how do you honor it? You give and receive this beautiful gift and make it something that God intends it to be. So I think that's a really great verse just to hold for singles and marrieds. We honor the marriage bed. How do we do that? Don't participate as a single, participate as a married couple. That's how we honor it and celebrate it. So let's get to some practical. We have kind of 3 practical things, right?
Yeah. So and I try to make them all be H's because cool. That's just, helps you remember. So moving forward, advice for couples about intimacy. The first thing is have a conversation. If you haven't, have a conversation. Yes. Maybe you've been married 10 years and you've never had a conversation about sex. You just do it when you do it, and that's great. Have a conversation. Talk about frequency, what you would like to see happen, what's not happening. Talk about ways you can honor one another in this area. Talk about things you may be uncomfortable with, like whatever. Just have a conversation. Yeah. It doesn't have to be super serious. It can be hilarious. You can have fun with that. Like you have right as a married couple to have this conversation.
Yeah, no doubt. So like think about if you're, just sit down and, okay, honey, in a perfect world, your perfect week, how many times we celebrate the gift, and then whatever your spouse says, then turn it around. Okay, in my perfect week, I would, and odds are you're going to be
totally different.
Yeah, you're probably going to be miles apart. Okay, realistically, if we both had a perfect week and we both gave and compromised a little bit, where would we land? And I think just then, talk about, hey, that sounds good. How can we get there? How do we make time for that? And maybe another conversation be, what are the roadblocks? What are the issues that cause us not to celebrate this gift? And talk through some of those issues. And maybe it's, I'm tired. Cause if you got kids and you're working, keeping the house straight and with sports and let's be honest, the marriage bed a lot of times is just lay down and watch Netflix because I'm so tired. Yeah. It's a fight to say there's something better than Netflix and it's something that we have together, but how do we cultivate that? So maybe it's, just real practically, maybe it's guys. Okay, you put the kids down to bed and let your wife go take a bath.
A few minutes, yeah.
Let's say, hey, honey, you're off duty. Go take a shower. Go take a bath. Go read a book. I'm going to take all the kids. I'm going to put them to bed. I'm going to give them their baths. I'm going to do all this. And your wife's probably thinking the whole time, wow, this is awesome. Yeah. My honey's doing some things, and maybe that will make the wife a little more relaxed and then not as tired. And hey, it might turn out good for you.
I love that idea, babe.
I'm putting the kids to bed tonight. Here we go.
No, that's a good one. But also we had said too, pursue, for the guy, I think pursuing, as a wife in that conversation you could say, you could pursue me throughout the day by doing this. Maybe it's a text message. Maybe it's a kiss in the morning or when you get home, or maybe it's a unloading the dishwasher, which we've talked about before on here. But in those conversations,
as y'all can tell, I get a lot of points with the dishwasher.
Yeah. But in those conversations, also be our next thing is, so we've got have a conversation and then have grace. So in those, it's not a okay, well, I got the wife, I let her read a book and take a bath, and I'm putting the kids to bed. So now when I come downstairs or when I come into the bedroom, she is ready for me. Yeah. That may not be the case. Yeah. Just do it because you want to serve her and love her. And wife, take note of that and think, man, but also don't turn it into a, you do this, I get this kind of situation. Yeah. But do have those conversations, have grace in this area, especially grace for hurt from their past. would be on
So
this.
you've probably heard this if you're a listener. I don't know, but I think it's a really good illustration if you haven't heard this, and that's crock pot versus the microwave.
Oh, yeah.
And it really is a helpful thought, especially if you're a guy and you're like, just don't get my wife. I'm so confused. Like, so God's made us different. And I think one of the ways we're different, especially in sexuality, is, if you're a husband, and this is most husbands, this could also be you as a wife, but one of you is probably a microwave. And what I mean by that is like you're hit the button, hit start, and you're ready to go. That's typically the guys. Like, it doesn't matter what happened that day. The moment like the wife's into it, boom, ready to go. Typically the wife is more like a crock pot, and that's a very slow heat up process. So it is, like Katie mentioned, more of through the day. I noticed you, I did things, I took you on a date, those kind of, that's romance, I think for, most guys, romance, intimacy, all of that is that moment of sexuality. For a girl, it's everything outside of that leads to that. Guy, it's like, it's all right here in this boom one moment.
Yeah.
For a girl, it's all the things that lead up to that. So just, if you're a guy, know that your wife is not like you. She's not a, hit 3 minutes and boom, let's go.
Yeah.
It's you got to start in the morning, and because you want it to be this cultivating, exciting, pursuing, loving, nurturing, awesome gift you get to celebrate. And again, guys, you're not doing this to get something. You are loving your wife well. And again, it's not the fuel of your marriage, it's the fruit of it. This is what love produces in that thing. So so have a conversation.
Have grace.
Have grace. So again, sex is not to be demanded. It's something to be received and given. And I think that's a big thing we're trying to hit on. Like, give grace. Girls, if you do everything and your husband doesn't give it to you, that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you like that one?
Yeah.
Guys, if you're doing everything and you don't get it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, still rub her back and tickle her and just go to bed, give her a kiss on the back and say, I love you. Yeah, I don't know if it's a tickle, but rub her back maybe if she likes that.
Please don't tickle me.
Hey.
Okay, and the last one, and my favorite, is have fun. And that sounds so like petty and childish, but seriously, in this area of your marriage, have fun and make an effort to have fun.
Yeah.
So make the effort to light the candle, to do the special thing that your spouse likes, to get ready without your clothes on. Whatever it is, have fun.
Wait, what was that one? What did you say?
I'm not saying it again because I know you heard me. But just have fun with
Yeah.
your spouse.
Yeah. And I think, exactly what you're saying. Like,
whatever that looks like for have fun.
Yeah, no doubt. This is not like I've got to do this. Like, this is the exciting thing the world is absolutely nuts obsessed with. I mean, just open your eyes and look around. The world is crazy obsessed with this everywhere all the time. You get to enjoy it as a couple, and Satan wants to try to make that as awkward and as strange and as weird as it could be, and it shouldn't.
And it's a neat thing too. And I mean, the Bible describes marriage as a mystery, and it's like, in thinking about that, and I think we are going to attempt in Song of Solomon, and today I feel like we haven't crossed any boundaries, just like I said in the beginning about pornographic speech or whatever. But it's between you and your spouse, and no one else gets to be a part of that with you. It's this private, intimate mystery that's just between you. And that's really special.
Yeah.
So I would end this podcast by saying, have fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, guys and girls, if you're married,
yes,
have a blast. Like, that's the imagery the Bible paints. This amazing thing that, man, you get to do. And I'm even just like, the science behind it, like endorphins and, just excitement and like happiness and all those things. And I love like reading like secular things where it's like, unanimously the best sex is monogamous couples who are married, and it's like the foreign thought, but it's like there's protection, there's joy, there's excitement, there's love and commitment and all those things.
And there's a lifetime.
Excitement.
There's a lifetime. If you're married, in your Christian marriage, the idea is that your marriage is for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And by death is when it's ended. So it's like from day one to when you're older, whatever, there's a change in this area of intimacy in your life.
Yeah.
And there is growth and it's just that same person. So it's like, it's going to get better with time and experience and knowing one another more and more and more and more and more. Yeah. So like, I would say that's a big reason why behind those kind of surveys or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it is versus a one night stand
or
whatever.
It's like in those, like what's this person thinking? What are they going to do tomorrow? Or how do none of those feelings are in marriage. It's like, I know where they're at tomorrow. They're waking up with me and I know where they're going to be tomorrow night. They're going to be with me. And so I think that just brings, have a conversation after you get to listen to this, talk to your spouse, say, I think like the two biggest things in marriage are money and sex. So you probably struggle in this area in some degree. Talk about it, have a conversation, read through 1 Corinthians 7 together, read through Proverbs 5 together and ask, how can we celebrate the gift more? It's not, guys, it's not a God. Girls, it's not gross. Instead, it is a gift to be given and received and celebrated. And I think even just one other thing about it, I think it should be something that, I'm trying to think how to say this. Like our kids should see romance between, like if you're a married couple and you have kids, your kids should see romance happening in your house. So what I mean by that is husbands, kiss your wife in front of your kids, hold her hand, give her a hug. Don't let the only place they see romance be on TV with unmarried people.
Right.
That's going to set a very dangerous thought for them. Oh, sex and romance is for unmarried people. Married people are boring and don't love each other. Yeah. And I want my kids to be like, Dad, God, so gross. Quit kissing mom.
And you say, but it's not gross.
It's not gross. It's good. It's a gift that God gave us. Yeah. So then they see the world saying sex is only good outside of marriage. Well, I don't know. It seems like my dad and my mom love each other a lot. Yeah. And it seems like they're kissing all the time. So
and also with that, that's a picture for our children. But I think when marriage is held in honor and is in you as a couple have done these things and have made it this priority, it's going to spill over into just your relationship in general. And then the gospel is able to be proclaimed because people see your marriage and see that it's different.
Yeah.
My prayer and hope would be that the church, and I feel like it's gotten a lot of flack for this in the past, but it's like the marriages inside the church should look so different than the marriages of the world. Yeah. And they should look healthy, and you should see that picture of that husband and wife that are, been married for 30 years and they're holding hands. Or they can't keep their hands off each other at dinner.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a beautiful picture of the gospel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I think
we'll see
and I think we'll see in Song of Solomon a lot. There's kind of two planes that happens on romance and intimacy and love, and it's the husband and wife ultimately reflect this Christ church relationship. And we're going to deal with how those two reflect each other a lot, and how just your romance and intimacy reflect your relationship with Jesus, and how awesome it is and vibrant it is. And we're going to talk about that in our next little mini series through the Song of Solomon or the Song of Songs.
Have fun.
Well, hey, wasn't that fun? Hey, hope you enjoyed the little 4-week series on marriage. And don't you just love Katie? She is absolutely the best. And hey, I noticed at the end we talked about Song of Solomon. That was a 2-year-old promise. We have not done that. But maybe I'll get her to come on the Love Your Bible podcast and do a little series on Song of Solomon. So if you would like that, hit me up on social, send me a text, leave a comment, say, hey, want to hear Song of Solomon with Katie, text her. Maybe we'll get that going, push us a little bit, because that would be a lot of fun. Hey, June's over. I have no idea. I mean, I've been in an RV with my family for 4 weeks. I'm hoping it's been the best time in the world, but who knows? Maybe we're all killing each other. But in July, we're back to the normal schedule of the Love Your Bible podcast. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully you're having an awesome summer, and maybe we'll get to that Song of Solomon soon. But until then, I'll see you next Thursday as we love our Bibles.